This week on SV Lynx. Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. Our goals this week are to work on the helm area here and to finish the second coat of fairing compound on the roof.
And I'd also like to get these stairs in, or at least close to it, because we want to get this painting finished here. So we've got, there's a grand total of 7 coats of paint that have to go on, and there's days in between, and so we'll see how far we get, but hopefully we'll get at least it painted. I don't know if we'll get the stairs mounted or not, but close to it for sure. So that's a lot of work to get done in this week, and we're here early this morning and we're going to get rolling. You can hear the birds chirping. Must be a good week. So let's get some work done on SV Lynx. Last week we dry fitted our seat for the helm together down here and made sure it was all the way we're going to want it to be. So today we're going to start gluing it together. So we mixed up a little honey consistency thickened epoxy, which we want to spread a pretty thin layer on here. Helm 5. These are doubled because there isn't a piece of foam thick enough or strong enough by itself this thick. So by doubling them up, you get a layer of 2 layers of fiberglass in the center, and you get a wider board for the seat to land on. So on to the next job. Got some thickened epoxy here because we're going to seal up, tabbing all the inside of this box and the outside as well. Okay, inside, hard part's down. There's still a little bit on the other side when we flip it over, but we're going to go ahead and do this upper piece next that goes all the way around. Okay, we got our outer rim on this side, so we're going to all let this set up, and then we'll flip it over and do the other side, which is not as much as this side, just a little less, so won't be too hard. And this getting pretty close to being finished. All we have to do is put in the faceplate, which holds the 2 chart plotters, and this thing will be one big sealed up strong unit, ready to go. Ready to go sailing. Let's go sailing. Oh wait, I still got a few more things to do. Unfortunately, I would love to be out on the water already, because we're headed for heat of summer, and boy, it would be nice to be down on the water. Maybe we'll escape a few days and go out on our buddy John's Duffy and cruise around some in the cool. Okay, well, I'll call this done. Brian's over here prepping all of the interior tabbing that we have left to do, cutting the glass and peel block. And I'm mocking up our helm seat again here because some work I have to do. I'm going to cut these corners so we don't have a sharp corner. When you're walking around, we don't want to catch a sharp corner like this, so I'm going to go ahead and round these off. This is the only one we'll be walking around a lot as we go in and out of the helm on this end. Over here it's up against the side, so you're not going around that corner, but just for symmetry reasons I rounded them both the same. And I'm getting these adjusted into where they go, but I'm not ready to glue this down yet. Close. First thing I'm going to do though is I've got to core the edge all the way around, and we're going to fill that with thickened epoxy to seal it. So we're going to do that before we glue it on here. So that's sort of up next on this. We're prepping these legs for the helm seat. Got them all sanded and edges beveled. And what we're going to do with them is tab over each side, and everywhere except where the seat sits and where it glues to the top and the bottom here, and where the backrest sits. But everywhere else we're going to tab. And then after we put the seat rest on, and the seat and the footrest, will tab as necessary from this up onto those pieces. So right now, just the initial tabbing for these legs. So we'll start, and we're just doing one at a time. We prep this one, and we'll tab this one right now, and then set it aside, prep the next one and tab it, and prep the next one and tab it. And then that might be all we get done today, but that will be plenty of things done. So we got a lot of work done on that helm console over there. That thing's really far along. It's got one little more session of glassing to go, and in essence it's ready to glue in to the boat. So very close on that one. This bench still has a little ways to go, but it's nowhere near as complex as that helm console was. There just aren't that many pieces. So once we get these legs ready today, tomorrow we'll glue the seat and the backrest on, and this will be one big piece that's ready to go up there. We won't put the footrest on yet because that's going to be hinged anyway, so we got to get hinges for it, and we don't know exactly what height we want that on. So we'll get the whole seat and everything in there, attached to the boat. We'll sit down and decide how high we want that footrest to come up, and then we'll mount that much later. But for now, we can get the seat and the backrest done, and then we can glue the whole helm seat into the boat. So Brian's mixing up our epoxy right now while I'm chatting with you guys. And I think it's getting a bit windy here. I think tomorrow we'll do more of the same. We'll go to part 2 of working on the helm seat and get the helm seat ready to go. And then we'll probably paint the first coat of high build primer onto the stair area and start getting that glued in. But there's 3 days of painting before we can have that stairway glued in. So if we're lucky, we'll get that in on Saturday. I'm tired already. That's because I've sanded all the edges where we finished last time in the second round of fairing compound. And then I cleaned the entire roof where we're going to putting on fairing compound now. So I've been at this for a while, and I'm a little tired from that. And I haven't even started putting down fairing compound yet. All right. So the plan now is to continue this on here all the way down to where that other camera is, all the way to the end. And then switch over to the starboard forward corner and do that. And then come back all the way up here and come down the center backwards and off the end. That way I don't paint myself in any corners or fair myself into any corners, whichever you want to look at that. But just about ready to go here. My tools of the trade: alcohol, paper towels, and a spatula. Brian will bring the epoxy up on a mortar board for me. Now, as far as the weather goes, you can see it's gray, but it's not going to remain gray. It's going to be spotty today, on and off, but it's going to stay somewhat cloudy all day. So we may get a few moments of sun, but we're just going to keep going because it's going to get just like this again, at least according to the weather report. And as far as I can see into the distance right now, it's gray. So we really hope to get the second half completed today. I don't want to have the third day. The only problem with switching days is mostly that I just have to sand all the edges where I'm going to put down, clean them so that we don't have any, I'm going to blush between the layers, and then clean it all again because I've just made dust when I was sanding. So it causes extra work. So I'm hoping to get all the way today, and that way we can just get to sanding on the whole thing. And after that, there may be some few small spot fixes and then paint. All right, let's get to it. Nearly there, at least on this section, which is, as I said before, the area that we have to do the most perfect on later for our sanding and everything. So we're nearly there, and then that's got this last little corner over there, and then the center part's going to be really easy because that's all going to be non-skid. So I'm just going to go a super light coat. That'll go pretty fast, but this is coming out fairly well. I think there'll still be a couple little tiny spots that we'll have to fix later, but we'll never have to put another full coat on, so it's looking that good. On there. Unfortunately, blue skies. We were hoping that the weather report was right. It will remain cloudy all day, but it's sunny. So we're gonna go grab some lunch. I can see a whole new cloud bank back there. So maybe after lunch, the cloud will come over again. We'll see. We did get the difficult side here done. So, you know, good progress was made. Kind of a momentous day. First time we're putting paint on the boat. Now, that's not completely true because we painted the copper coat on the bottom of the hulls, but that's a different kind of paint. We're talking about first time we're using a Lynx Seal and starting to paint either the interior or exterior of the boat. And what we're going to do today is we're going to paint a very small area. There's a lot of reasons why we want to do that. One is it's more of a hidden away area, and also it's because we got to get these stairs in right away. So we just want to paint just where those stairs mount. We don't really want to paint anywhere else. So we just mixed up some of their high build primer. And this is a very thick, pasty kind of paint that will help fill in any tiny little itty bitty problem areas. So we'll put this high build on, wait an hour, put another coat on, and then we'll sand it tomorrow, and then we'll start putting the regular Lynx Seal 442 primer on top of that, and do a couple coats of that, and then sand that again, and then we'll finally get to paint. But today, high build primer. Here's what the story is. The only part that you're going to see is this right here and this little piece right here. Everything in there is inside the bike garage, and we just don't care. It's again, just bike garage. It's like a bilge. So this looks pretty good where we wanted it to look good, and in there it looks fairly rough, but again, we didn't care, so we didn't sand it that much. It's close enough. I mixed too much paint, so we went ahead and painted that part back there too. Doesn't matter. Now, we're gonna we'll put another coat of this on in a few minutes, an hour. And then tomorrow we're gonna sand it, and then we're gonna probably fair a few little spots on it, because this is an epoxy, so we can still fair over the top of this. So this will give us a good view of anything that really needs it. So I can already see there's a spot right there, and a spot here that we're probably going to want to fix, but that's okay. We'll take a tiny bit of little fairing compound, put them on there, sand the whole thing, and then we'll go on to the next coat. Had some unscheduled rain yesterday afternoon and last night, meaning no weather reports told us it was going to do that, but it was basically a thunderstorm came through the mountains behind us and just suddenly downpoured a bunch of rain and thunder and lightning and all that good stuff. We were mostly covered up on the boat, but there were a few spots that weren't well covered, and so we got a little bit of water down into the bilge, which we've already pumped out. Ground's wet everywhere, but that's okay. But it also means that the top deck is damp, and even though it's a little overcast, it's only going to be overcast until about 10 a.m., which is a couple hours from now. And so that's just not enough time to dry it and put fairing compound up there. So we're going to wait until Friday, which we're supposed to have another overcast day on Friday. So we'll get it dried out for the next couple days. And then Friday will hopefully be the last of that second coat of fairing compound. But meanwhile, we have other things to do. We've been working on this helm console. It's getting pretty close. So the last thing we have to do is glue on the face here, which goes on right like that. And we already beveled the edges to make it fit nicely. This is where our two chart plotters go, and in the center there's a another Trident 2, I think it's called, readout that goes in there that'll have our sail data. And so that's what that's for. Now we're going to permanently put this on because we have access from behind to do any wiring and those kinds of things through the big hatch at the back. So this doesn't have to have access over here. So we're just going to go ahead and glue this on after I round off these two edges, because we're going to have to tab over these. So we're going to round these edges, and then we'll glue this on. After that, we're going to get back to working on the legs for the helm seat and get those finished glassing. We've already glassed one of them, and we've got the other two to glass. So we'll do that as well today. So we're going to get to it and get started with rounding these corners. There we go. We always try to have multiple jobs that we can do, so that depending on the weather, we can switch. So today we're letting the boat dry out because we vacuumed it out, but it's damp in places. So that's okay. We've got a ton of work to do on our helm area, the seat, and this console. So we'll be doing all that today. Top is over here. Okay. So all we need now is a couple of B&G plotters to go on there. So B&G, if you're listening, wouldn't you love to sponsor our build and let us talk all about your wonderful products? Contact us. So we're done with this for now. What we'll do is let this set up, and then tomorrow, or maybe even this afternoon, we'll tab all this outside portion that we haven't done yet. There's 10 spots here that we have to tab. So, and that will complete the sealing of this whole thing up. So these are the last two legs of the helm that we haven't glassed yet, so we're going to do that right now. All right, we have a couple legs. Let those set up, and we can put the bench together after that. Next order of business is we're going to do these three. This is the raising and lowering step at the bottom of the helm seat, the seat itself, and the backrest. And we've got to seal all of the edges all the way around on these. So we already showed just coring them, but now we're going to fill them with thickened epoxy all the way around. And that will get these ready to be glued on to those seat legs that we were just working on. That was by far the hard part. Everything else will be out front and to the sides. All right, so that's it. We've got them all the way around. Just doing a little cleanup, and another job done today. So these will be ready tomorrow to put onto the bench. One job that we've been putting off, and well, let me rephrase that. Many jobs that we've been putting out all have to do with the bows of the boat. It's so many little things that we have to fix up at the bow that we've been just ignoring it and working on other things. And I finally realized that we're never going to tackle them all in one big shot. It's just too overwhelming how many things to do. So we decided that we're going to start doing a job here and there mixed in with the other things we do, and eventually this bow will get finished. But the first thing we had to do was this chamfer panel is warped in here, and it's under so much tension that we took it off. We took off the clamp here, and it moved out 6 inches. So we had to put the clamp back in again. In fact, we reconfigured the clamp so that we could get to both sides of this, so we could tab this down here, tab this over here, and get this all held by as many different pieces of fiberglass as we possibly can, because it's under so much tension. And so we're going to start with that today. We're going to fill up these gaps that are in here and put some coves down here and double tab all this stuff in here. We're still going to leave this on though, even after it's tabbed, because then we're going to work on, there's a piece that we haven't put in up top yet. It goes from up here up to the deck, and we want to get that piece in there and get that tabbed on, get that tabbed into the bulkheads, so that there's as many things as possible holding this before we take the tension off of it. Now, it won't stay under tension, because something that's coming with this boat eventually, once we have all the green glued onto the whole boat, is we have to tent the entire boat and bake it for 4 hours at something like 145 degrees Fahrenheit, that in Celsius. And what happens when you bake it like that is that all of the things that are under tension, like that chamfer panel, take the new set and no longer have the tension in them anymore. That's why you have to bake the whole boat. That's something we'll get to after we finish everything, but there's still a lot of work to go before we can get to that. So until then, this is still going to be under tension, so we got to get as many tabs holding this in place as we possibly can. Now eventually we do have to take this clamp off because we can't put that side panel in there, but let's see what else we can do. I might be able to take some straps from a board on the other side and bring it over here, or a brace from the other side from the ground up. We'll see. But that's just an example of one little task that we have to go on this, and there's a whole bunch. And I'll tell you more about all the rest of the things that have to go on here in a moment, but I got to get this prepped because Brian's getting ready to mix for me here. All right, so I finished sanding and cleaning all this, so I'm ready for Brian. He's mixing up some thickened epoxy right now, and so I'll take this moment to go over just a few of the little things that we have to do on the bow of the boat. And it's a long, long list. We have to get this tabbed in. We have to build the piece that goes up there that connects this chamfer panel up to the decks. We have to fix all of the little pieces that come together of the decks to here. We have to build the nose cone portion here. We already built this one. You can see that in another video, and we have to extend that on up and tie that into here. That's why this is curved to be able to move. So I have to do all that on both sides. And then we have to go to the center of the bow here, where we're talking about where the trampolines are. We have to build the trampoline tracks all the way along the edge of the boat and across the forebeam. Then we have to, before we can do that, we have to build the catwalk, because that ties into those as well. That goes, prodder, in other words, goes out the center and leads to the bowsprit. We have to build the bowsprit. We have to build in the 3 sail mounts. That's the self-tacking jib, which mounts to the seagull striker that we have to build up on top of the forebeam. And then in front of that, a little further up the prodder, is where our storm jib mounts. We have to make a mount for that. And then, of course, we have that bowsprit out there, which is where the screecher mounts. So there's just a whole bunch of different tasks that have to get done to get this bow finished up. And it's such a monster that we're just going to take it a little one bite at a time. The old saying of, you know, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Well, we're going to do that. So one day at a time, we'll slowly chip away at it until it doesn't look like such a monster that we've been dreading doing. But hey, there's more things. We have to laminate the entire inside of the chamfer panel and some of the outside, because we kerfed the heck out of that thing to get it to bend. So now we have to laminate both sides of it. That's just another bow task. So the bow of the boat is going to be a bunch of work. So what can you do? Do it. So right now we're going to get this all these tabs in, and we'll get started. We got a delivery. It's my day off, and Brian's not here either, but I got a phone call. Of course, of all the days, they chose the one day during the week that we don't work. But what we have is a 55-gallon drum of West System epoxy coming from West Marine. This is part of our sponsorship from West System, and we really appreciate those guys. And so this is our final barrel of 55 gallons. And this will be used to fare the entire boat. Can we get it just inside there? So as you can see, it's our 4th barrel of West System epoxy. Gray again, yay! That means that we can get back to work on the second fairing. We've got 1/3 of the roof to do left, and we're going to try and get that all done today so that this will be ready for sanding. And then tomorrow, if it's overcast again, we'll sand this roof, get it down to ready for the high build primer. 302, I believe, is the primer from Alexial. But today, the product we're going with is West System, and we prefer this West System epoxy. It's so much smoother for fairing. We love that, and it just smooths out really nicely. It's like putting on butter. So really a great epoxy for that. And so Brian's mixing right now with our flock and micro balloons and just a tad of silica, and he'll start feeding me, and I will put all of the application on, and he'll just keep mixing as fast as he can mix, and we'll get this done in the next 2 hours, let's call it, by 10 a.m. I hope. It's 8 now. Well, the first thing we did this morning, although I didn't show you, is I sanded all along the edge of where we stopped everywhere on the previous coat to get rid of any almond blush, or just to get it smooth and ready for the next overlap. Then we wiped it all down with alcohol. Now you'll notice some dirt over where I'm standing. That's from the tarps, but this is where we've already done the fairing compound for this round, and we'll be cleaning the entire top, including this, before we obviously sand, or obviously before paint, but even before we sand, we'll get this off of here. And then, but I only had to clean the area that we're actually going to do, because as soon as we put these tarps back up, it's just going to get dirty again anyway. So no sense in cleaning that. The rest of it's ready to go, and I'm going to begin over here and get that little edge corner there on the starboard side finished, and then I'm going to go all the way down at the beginning there and back myself all the way down and out, and then I'll be done for the major fairing of this roof. That doesn't mean we're done with all fairing, but we're going to be done with the major fairing. And so 2 coats looks like it's going to do it, And like I say, if there are a couple little tiny spots that are a problem, we'll spot fare a little bit more. But overall, this is really smooth, so not too worried about it. And as I've mentioned probably numerous times, this part here is going to be easy to fare because I'm not putting a lot of epoxy on there. It's already very flat, and it's all going to get non-skid on it anyway, so I just don't need to worry about that too much. So we'll still give it a coat, but a thin one. So the only real worry area is that starboard corner up there that we have to make sure that's really nice, because that's going to be visible all the time. Over here, the mast sits about here, and from there the lines run over, and then they turn, and then they come up to the line handling stuff. So the lines go over that corner over there, so we can't put a solar panel or anything else over there. So this area over here has to look pretty nice, because again, you're going to see it from here. That's where the lines are and stuff. So the non-skid stops about here. So from here over, this has to be nice and beautiful looking. So I'll be concentrating, that's why we're starting here today, and I'll be concentrating on getting a fairly decent coat on here so that we can sand it perfectly flat when we go to the sanding. Not a moment too soon. The clouds have cleared and the sky is getting blue, but we got it done. Okay, let's going to sand this up so we can get the 442 primer on, and that way we can get to the paint soon. Time to put our second round of primer onto the wall there, and we already did the 302 high build, so now we're going to go with their 4427. Actually, it's 4420 finish primer 442, and this is the finish primer 442 converter, because this is an epoxy, so it's a two-part. And then we have this 4042, which is their primer reducer. So Alexiela sent us all of these things, and first thing we're gonna have to do is mix this up, because if it was like the last one, it's going to be very thick on the bottom. So hold that can for me. Yeah. All right, here. So the mix ratio on this is 1:1 for the epoxy and converter, epoxy paint and converter. Now for the reducer, you can go from anywhere from 6% to 25%, and that's according to the very nice mixing chart that they sent over for all their products for us. And we're going to go right, because it's the first time we've used this, we're going to go right in the middle. We're going to go 12%, and if we find later that we wanted it thinner than that, well, we can go thinner, or if we wanted it thicker, we can go thicker, because 6 to 25, we'll go 12. All right, heading upstairs. Okay, we have put on the 442, and it requires 2 coats, and they have to be an hour apart. So we're going to wait an hour, and then we'll come back here and do it again with another 220 milliliters of paint, because that worked out to be exactly how much we needed. First time we mixed way too much for the high build, but for this one we got it right. So now we'll move on to some other things, and an hour later we'll come back and do this again. So Brian's cleaning up the area where the seat attaches to the legs so that it's ready later to tab. Now Brian's cleaning up the seat itself, because we filled thickened epoxy along the edge, and we got to kind of clean it up a little bit. We can work on it more even when it's on there, but we thought, you know, it's easier to do a quick grind on it before we glue it on to the seat legs.
Now we're cleaning up the edge where we filled with thickened epoxy around the seat back, the seat, and the footrest.
Now we're going to put a beveled edge around the whole thing. So we are all set on that. So we can glue this on now. Because the thickened epoxy is through there, even though we beveled it, we're still in the thickened epoxy, not into the foam. So we can paint, we'll do a sand, but we can paint right around that and don't have to worry about it. A nice little bead of epoxy there. It's time for the sanding extravaganza to begin up here. So we're going to have 3 people sanding today. Brian and I are already here, and Jeff's on his way. And so we're going to try and get as much, if not all, of this cabin top here sanded, and of the second coat, because it's nice and gray out. So being up here, we're not in the sun too much. So we'll give it a go until it gets too sunny, and then we'll call it quits. All right, well, we've got that corner sanded, and we've got down to about here sanded, and we've got over to about here on this corner sanded. And that's all that the sun's going to allow us to do, because it's starting to peak out, and that's my excuse for us stopping right now. I think that also our sanders are getting worn out. I don't mean the machines, I mean the people. So I think that's as far as we're going to go. Today we got other tasks to do that won't be quite as shoulder destroying as sanding. What we're doing now is we're going to go ahead and glue the bench onto this, and then we'll glue the back on. And we've got a bunch of marks on the bottom of the bench for how these go, and then we'll use a level to make sure that they're arranged correctly. It's warm today, but it's not blazing hot, so we've got some time to work this, because it's going to be a lot of little adjustments to get this set right. But they're close right now, and then we'll adjust once we stick the bench on here in a minute or two. All right, we got to spin this thing around. All right, look for your marks. They should be somewhere around there. Just make sure it's pressed all the way against the back. Okay. All right, Brian, get that level out here and see if we can figure out. The bench is all down everywhere. So now it's just a matter of this. So put your level on there. So the top needs to go this way, and the bottom needs to go that way. Check it again. All right, so we got yaw, pitch, and roll on these things correct now. This bench is flat across the thing. It's right on its marks everywhere. So we're gonna walk away and let it set up.
We got many of our goals accomplished this week with ferrying on the roof, working on the helm, got the console put together, and the seat is gluing.
So all of our goals of the week we accomplished, and the stairway area is all painted down to the final coats. And so come next week, we're gonna glue that stairway in and start gluing this down and gluing that seat module in. And so we got a whole bunch of stuff for next week that's gonna complete a lot of the structure of the helm. There's a lot of detail work to go still, but we'll have all that. So thanks for spending time with us this week and watching our video. We appreciate you coming by. And also thank you to our patrons who support our project. We appreciate them.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone. We could not do this project without you. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
Now you'll notice that from where I'm standing at my height, I can see the bows of the boat from here just fine. But the Admiral's a little shorter. So for her, she can't see that, but she'll be able to step up onto the flip down seat of the, when we put the Helm Seat in, and that'll bring her up here, so she'll be able to see as well. So that's one of the reasons that we have that drop down footrest on the Helm Seat. You know, it's not just for that, it's also for when you're sitting, but for her, she can stand on it, or anybody else who isn't my height can stand there. So I can just make out the two bows from here. Anyway, thank you guys all for stopping by. We'll see you next week for more work on the helm and some other stuff. We're going to get to work, hopefully, painting the cabin, top deck of the cabin here. See you then.
Okay, bye.